Welcome to Chop Shop Motors. I'm Clay, and I think today we're gonna do a deep dive into hot rod taillights. At least a narrow swath of them. The ones that I have that I can show you and give you a little background on. It's summertime in Arizona, so it is hot here. It's probably 115 today. The shop was 110. Even with the cooler on, it's still running about 110. So I'm going to turn the cooler on low as I film. Hopefully the noise won't be too distracting. I apologize. But if I leave it off for very much longer, I'm just going to throw in the towel and not do the video. So let's get some hot rod content out there and talk you through some taillights. Here we go. So there are lots of different kind of taillights out there that people put on their hot rods. One of the really common ones is called a 39 teardrop. So as you can see, depending on which way you look at it, it's kind of shaped like a teardrop. And this came on predominantly 39 Fords. I think it actually was on 38s as well. So it's a really simple tail light. Usually does not have a blue dot. This is an original one, but they make these as aftermarket because they were so popular, and they're very common. Lots of hot rodders use them for all kinds of applications. Here's kind of the set. These have some blue dots dropped into them. Typically they mount like this into the car with the pointy end down, not with the drop down. So if you do use them, pay attention to kind of which way historically they get mounted. They are pretty simple. They mount on a flat surface, so it's not made to mount on a contour or a fender shape like a curve. They're not really made for that. So you got to kind of think ahead and figure out what you want to put them on. But these are a super common tail light. They're timeless. They are on a million things. Easy to get. You can buy them brand new. I don't think they're a very expensive reproduction. I want to say probably buy a set for $100, maybe less. Used ones like this in the original, sometimes you actually pay a little more for the original than you would a brand new one, but that's kind of the story behind the 39. Unbelievably popular, good looking tail light. Alright, let's go to the next one. Another really popular tail light that a lot of hot rodders over time, traditional hot rodders, used is this round Pontiac tail light. I believe this is a 50 Pontiac is what it originally came on. It has a glass lens. It's a chrome pot metal bezel. This is a reproduction. So this is same kind of thing as the 39 Ford. Very, very desirable. Lots of people like this look, and so they make a lot of reproductions. You can probably go to Summit or someplace like that. Any of the hot rod shops will also have it, and you can get a nice set of Pontiac taillights to put on pretty much whatever you want to do. They're really simple because they're the round shape. You know, there's just so many opportunities for you to make them work on all kinds of things. And this is one of those taillights that if you pay attention, you'll see it used on everything. So a really cool option to your taillight world. Again, flat on the back, so they're going to sit flat into a panel and they'll work on, you know, all kinds of things. Okay, so those are the Pontiacs. Then we have a early Ford. I think this is I want to say this is a Model A, but because it's stainless, pretty confident this is a reproduction set, and definitely not an original set of lenses. Although you could get blue dots back in the 50s and things, this set is not from the 50s. So this was probably, I'm gonna say, in the era of Model A up to maybe 34 passenger car. A nice clean taillight, again not super spendy, has a nice look to it, flat mounted, typically came on an arm or a stanchion that came out and mounted to the frame cover. So a really cool option if you're building something that you want a early look. These would be a nice alternative to something late model, and you can get them. So there you go. And they come painted or stainless, either way. So now let's look at something that is less common. So I love the less common taillights. This is one of those. So this is a short torpedo looking taillight. Lots of 30s cars had some kind of torpedo taillight on it. They mounted on the fender or on the body. They hadn't gotten to the point where they were integrated into the fender yet, just like the headlights. And this is what some of the early or mid to late 30s Mopars used. So this little short one is a 37-38 Plymouth. This is what they look like. They have a small bezel and a highlight. The company that made them is called Highlight, H-I-L-I-T-E, and they made the ring as well as the can, and they probably made this pot metal bracket too, but maybe Plymouth Mopar did. This particular one is a right side. They were on the entry level Plymouths, which Plymouth wasn't entry level, but on the entry level Plymouths, so in 37 you had a P3 and a P4. So think of it like in the Ford language, that would be a standard and a deluxe. So a P3 would have only had one taillight. It would have been on the left side. So this particular taillight is a right. Really hard to find the rights. So when you find the right, it's much easier to make and fill out the set like this and get the left. This was not a set that I bought. This was a set that I built out of pieces. I bought a can, and then I bought a bracket, and then I bought a bezel, and then I found some highlight lenses one at a time, and you build a set. So this is a really cool set of Plymouths, and I have a plan to use a set of these. Well, I had a plan to use a set of these on the 32 pickup. Now that plan's changed, I don't know what I'll use them on, but I bet I figure out something. So this is what the 37 Plymouths look like. Interestingly, I did not use 37 Plymouths on my 37 Plymouth. I used this set. And these are a little bit bigger in size. They're a little bit bulkier. They're a little bit bigger in diameter, and they're a little bit longer. And these are 37 Dodges. 37, 38 Dodge. They're also 37, I think they're 37 and 38 Chrysler and DeSoto as well. So they used them on multiple brands. The difference is on the Dodges, the bezel is really simple. It's just a ring with the highlight lens. Really cool lens. If you get to see them in person, the lens is just killer. And lots of other companies made lenses as replacement. So there are other less cool lenses out there. The highlight lenses are the coolest. If this were on a Chrysler, it would have had a bar that went across here that was chrome, and it would have had like little legs that came down. If it were on a DeSoto, and I could be wrong on this, but you're going to get the gist. On the DeSoto, it had a gem in the middle and 3 bars that went across it. And then if it was on an Airflow, it had a gem and bars or legs or something. It was super elaborate. Really cool, but very elaborate. And now those lenses, the lenses with a set of rings, are going for, you know, $7,000-8,000 for just the lenses with the rings. So, needless to say, I don't have a set of those lenses. They really didn't yank my cord, so I didn't. When I could have picked them up, I never did. I like the simple, and that's the Dodge or the Plymouth, and that's what I have. So I have a couple sets of these, and I actually have a couple sets of each of them, just because I like them, and when I stumble across one, I pick it up. Here's typically what it looks like when you stumble across it. So, kind of scruffy looking. This one was pretty complete. It had a lens and it had a bezel, so that was really cool. Had all the pieces inside. Couple little dings and dents. I don't know if you can see. I'll put my finger close to it. So right there, it says highlight. And that is the company who made it. So that is a little peek at the tail lights for some hot rods. It isn't an expansive research. It's just some of the ones I had close. It's nice to share kind of a peek into what people collect. The 32 5-window coupe has a set of those torpedo looking tail lights, and they are off of a Pontiac, so they're a little bit smaller in diameter. Lots of guys run a 37 Ford, which is a little bit smaller, yet it's kind of the same look as that Dodge, but it looks like you left it in the dryer too long. Way small. So lots of them out there. My advice is, if you buy a set of kind of oddball taillights, can really set your car apart, but make sure you get all the pieces. Make sure you get bezels and rings and cans, all the stuff you're going to need, because if it's oddball, finding those pieces later gets really tough. If it's a Ford or a Chevrolet, you're going to be able to find them. There's lots of them out there. Plymouth, they're available. But if you're looking for something really weird, then be careful. I'm Clay for Chop Shop Motors, and we'll see you on the next project.